He laughed at my body goals, so I glowed up and watched him chase me back. Before we dive into this incredible transformation story, if you're ready to be inspired by real-life comebacks and glow-up journeys, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss what happens next. Picture this. You're standing in your university gym in Manchester, heart pounding, sweat dripping down your face after your first workout in months. You've just mustered the courage to step foot in that intimidating space filled with perfectly sculpted bodies and expensive workout gear. And then, the person you've had a crush on for 2 years, the same person who makes your heart skip a beat every time they walk into your sociology lecture, looks at you, laughs, and says words that will echo in your mind for the next 18 months. This is exactly what happened to Emma Rodriguez on a cold February morning in 2023. But what happened next? Well, let's just say that sometimes the universe has a funny way of serving justice, and some people learn the hard way that you should never underestimate someone's potential for transformation. Emma had always been what her grandmother lovingly called pleasantly plump. At 21, she carried herself with the quiet confidence of someone who had learned to navigate the world as a size 16 in a society obsessed with size 6. Her dark curls bounced as she walked across the University of Manchester campus, books clutched tightly against her chest, usually heading to the library where she spent most of her free time. The gym had always felt like foreign territory. The sleek equipment, the mirrors that seemed to judge from every angle, the sound of weights clanking together. It all felt designed for people who weren't her. But January had brought New Year's resolutions, and Emma had finally decided it was time to prioritize her health, not for anyone else, but for herself. She'd been going to the gym for 3 weeks, usually during off-peak hours when fewer people were around. Her routine was simple: 30 minutes on the treadmill, some light weights, and stretching. Nothing too ambitious, just enough to build a habit. She was proud of herself for sticking to it, even when her muscles ached and her lungs burned. That February morning, Emma had miscalculated her timing. The gym was packed with the usual crowd of fitness enthusiasts, their perfectly coordinated workout outfits making her feel even more self-conscious in her old university t-shirt and leggings with a small hole near the knee. She was on the treadmill, breathing heavily after a particularly challenging interval, when she heard familiar laughter behind her. Jake Morrison, the guy from her advanced social theory class, was standing with his group of friends near the weight section. Jake was everything Emma wasn't. Tall, athletic, with the kind of effortless charm that made professors remember his name and classmates hang on his every word. "Look at that," Jake said, his voice carrying across the gym floor. "Emma's really going for it on that treadmill. What's next? Training for the Olympics?" His friends chuckled, but Jake wasn't finished. "I mean, good for her, I guess. But let's be real. Some people are just built for the library, not the gym. She's probably going to give up in a week anyway." Emma's legs nearly buckled beneath her. She gripped the treadmill handles tighter, forcing herself to keep moving even as her cheeks burned with embarrassment. She could feel other people's eyes on her now, some sympathetic, others amused. The worst part wasn't even the comment itself. It was the casual cruelty of it, the way Jake had dismissed her efforts as if her goals were somehow less valid because of her body type. She finished her workout in a haze of humiliation, gathered her things, and walked out of the gym with as much dignity as she could muster. But as she sat in her car in the parking lot, tears streaming down her face, Emma made a decision that would change everything. "You know what, Jake Morrison?" she whispered to herself, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." The transformation didn't happen overnight. Emma understood that sustainable change required patience, consistency, and most importantly, the right mindset. She wasn't doing this to prove anything to Jake or anyone else. She was doing it for herself. But there was no denying that his words had lit a fire in her that she didn't even know existed. She started by completely restructuring her approach to fitness. Instead of hiding in the gym during off-peak hours, she hired a personal trainer, Sarah, a former competitive bodybuilder who understood the psychological barriers that came with starting a fitness journey. Sarah didn't just teach Emma about proper form and nutrition. She helped her develop the mental toughness that would carry her through the difficult months ahead. "Your body is not the enemy," Sarah would say during their sessions. Your body is your teammate. Treat it with respect, fuel it properly, and it will do amazing things for you. Emma threw herself into learning everything she could about nutrition, meal planning, and effective training techniques. She discovered that she actually enjoyed the strategic aspect of fitness, tracking macronutrients, planning workouts, setting measurable goals. It appealed to the same analytical mind that made her excel in her academic studies. The first few months were brutal. There were days when Emma wanted to quit, when the scale seemed stuck, when her muscles screamed in protest. But every time she felt like giving up, she remembered that February morning in the gym, and she pushed through. She started meal prepping on Sundays, turning her small flat into a production line of portioned containers filled with lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, and colorful vegetables. She learned to find joy in the process, the methodical chopping of vegetables, the satisfaction of a perfectly organized refrigerator, the way her body felt when she fueled it properly. Her social life shifted too. Instead of spending Friday nights at the pub with her coursemates, Emma found herself going to bed early so she could wake up for Saturday morning workouts. Some friends didn't understand the change, but Emma was discovering that she genuinely enjoyed this new lifestyle. By summer, the changes were becoming visible. Emma's face had become more defined, her clothes were fitting differently, and she carried herself with a new kind of confidence. But the most significant change was internal. She had discovered a strength she never knew she possessed. The gym that had once intimidated her became her sanctuary. She knew the names of the regular staff, had her favorite machines, and had even started helping newcomers who looked as lost as she had felt 8 months earlier. The woman who had once hidden in the back corner was now confidently claiming her space in the weight section. September brought the return of university classes, and with it, the moment Emma had been both anticipating and dreading. She spent extra time getting ready that first day, not out of vanity, but because she wanted to feel confident walking back into that lecture hall. The advanced social theory classroom looked exactly the same. Rows of desks facing Professor Williams' podium, large windows overlooking the campus courtyard, the familiar smell of old books and coffee. But Emma felt like a completely different person walking through those doors. She had lost 43 pounds, but more importantly, she had gained something invaluable, an unshakable belief in her own capabilities. Her dark hair was styled in a sleek bob that framed her now-defined jawline, and she wore a fitted blazer that she had bought specifically for this moment. Emma chose a seat in the middle of the classroom, no longer content to hide in the back row. She pulled out her notebook and settled in, aware of the whispers and glances from her classmates, but unbothered by them. Jake walked in 15 minutes later, looking exactly the same as he had 8 months ago. His eyes swept across the room in his typical casual survey, and Emma watched with satisfaction as his gaze passed over her once, twice, and then stopped completely on the third pass. She saw the exact moment recognition dawned on his face. His confident stride faltered slightly, and he did a double take so obvious that several other students turned to see what had caught his attention. Emma simply smiled and turned her attention to Professor Williams, who was beginning the lecture on social stratification and power dynamics. The irony wasn't lost on her. After class, Emma was packing up her things when she heard someone clearing their throat behind her. She turned to find Jake standing there, looking uncertain in a way she had never seen before. "Emma?" he said, as if he wasn't quite sure. "Wow, you look different." "Different how?" she asked, her voice steady and controlled. "I mean, you look great, really great. Have you been working out?" Emma couldn't help but smile at the question. "Yes, Jake, I have been working out. Every day for the past 8 months, actually." "That's amazing," he said, running a hand through his hair, a nervous gesture she remembered from their group project the previous year. "I mean, I always thought you were pretty, but now? Wow, always?" Emma raised an eyebrow. "That's interesting. Considering the last time we talked about my fitness goals, you seem to have some pretty strong opinions about my chances of success." Jake's face reddened slightly. I don't really remember that conversation." "Oh, I remember it perfectly," Emma said, slinging her bag over her shoulder. "It was February 14th, actually. In the gym. You were with your friends, and you made some very memorable comments about people being built for the library, not the gym. The color drained from Jake's face as the memory clearly returned. Emma, I was just joking around. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm sure you didn't, Emma said pleasantly. But you know what? I actually want to thank you for that joke. It was exactly the motivation I needed. Over the following weeks, Jake's behavior became increasingly obvious to everyone around them. He started showing up early to their shared classes, always trying to sit near Emma. He would linger after lectures, attempting to strike up conversations about assignments, weekend plans, or anything else he could think of. Emma found his sudden interest amusing, but not particularly flattering. She had spent too many months building genuine self-confidence to be swayed by attention from someone who had dismissed her so easily before. Want to grab coffee sometime? Jake asked one Thursday after their social research methods class. I'd love to hear about your fitness journey. Maybe you could give me some tips. Emma looked at him thoughtfully. Tips? I thought you had fitness all figured out, Jake. Weren't you the one who said some people are just naturally built for certain things? Come on, Emma, he said, stepping closer. Can't we just forget about that? People say stupid things sometimes. I think we could be really good together. Good together? Emma laughed, but not unkindly. Jake, 8 months ago, you looked at me and saw someone whose goals were worth mocking. Now you see someone whose appearance you find attractive, and suddenly you're interested in who I am as a person? Do you not see how backwards that is? Jake's expression grew desperate. It's not like that. I mean, yes, you look incredible now. But I'm also seeing how dedicated and disciplined you are. Those are attractive qualities. Those qualities were always there, Emma said quietly. I was always dedicated and disciplined. That's how I maintained a 3.8 GPA while working part-time to pay for university. That's how I completed 3 internships and volunteered at the community center every weekend. But you never noticed those things when I was a size 16. Jake opened his mouth to respond, but Emma held up a hand. I'm not telling you this to make you feel bad, Jake. I'm telling you this because I think you need to understand something important. The woman you're interested in now and the woman you laughed at in February are the same person. The only thing that's changed is my body, and if that's what it took to get your attention, then your attention isn't worth having. The conversation with Jake marked a turning point for Emma, but not in the way he had hoped. She realized that her transformation had given her something more valuable than physical fitness. It had given her the confidence to know her own worth. Word of Jake's pursuit and Emma's polite but firm rejections spread through their social circle. Emma found herself becoming something of an inspiration to other students who had felt dismissed or overlooked. She started a fitness group for beginners, meeting twice a week in the university gym to provide the supportive environment she had wished for during her early days. The most important thing to remember, she would tell newcomers, is that you're not doing this to prove anything to anyone else. You're doing this because you deserve to feel strong and healthy and confident in your own skin. Her academic performance, already strong, somehow improved even more. The discipline and goal-setting skills she had developed through her fitness journey translated into every area of her life. She was selected for a prestigious research position with Professor Williams, who commented on her remarkable focus and determination. Jake, meanwhile, seemed to struggle with the rejection. He went through a phase of trying to demonstrate his own commitment to fitness, posting workout videos on social media and making pointed comments about shallow people who judge others based on appearances. The irony was lost on him, but not on anyone else. Emma's friends from the fitness group would sometimes joke about Jake's obvious frustration, but Emma discouraged the gossip. She had learned that carrying anger and resentment was like carrying unnecessary weight. It only slowed you down. One evening, as Emma was finishing her workout, she noticed Jake sitting alone on a bench near the gym entrance. He looked defeated in a way that actually made her feel sorry for him. She approached him carefully. Jake, are you okay? He looked up, surprised. Oh, hey, Emma. Yeah, I'm fine, just thinking. About what? Jake was quiet for a long moment. About how badly I messed up, not just with you, but I've been thinking about a lot of things I've said and done over the years, comments I've made about people, jokes I thought were harmless. I'm starting to realize they weren't harmless at all. Emma sat down beside him, maintaining a careful distance. What made you think about that? Watching you these past few months, Jake said honestly. Seeing how you've handled everything with such grace, even when I was being, well, pathetic. It made me realize that I never actually knew you before. I just saw what I wanted to see, and I dismissed everything else. That's a pretty big realization, Emma said. Yeah, it is, and I know it's too late to fix things with you. But I wanted you to know that I'm sorry, really sorry. Not just for what I said in the gym, but for the attitude behind it. For thinking that my opinion of your goals mattered more than your own belief in yourself. Emma studied his face, seeing genuine remorse there. Apology accepted, Jake. And it's not too late to fix things, just not in the way you probably hoped. It's not too late to become a better person. 6 months later, Emma graduated summa cum laude with a degree in sociology and a job offer from a prestigious research firm in London. Her transformation, physical, mental, and emotional, had become the foundation for a life she had never imagined possible. At the graduation ceremony, Jake approached her one last time. He looked different too, humbler, more genuine. Congratulations, Emma, he said simply. You deserved all of this success, and I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. Thank you, Emma replied. And Jake, I hope you've learned that real attraction isn't about someone's body type or their appearance. It's about recognizing and appreciating someone's character, their dreams, their resilience. Those things were always there. You just had to be willing to see them. As Emma walked across the stage to receive her diploma, she thought about that February morning in the gym when Jake's laughter had nearly broken her spirit. She realized now that it had actually been the beginning of the most important journey of her life. Not the journey to lose weight, but the journey to discover her own strength. The woman who had once hidden in the back corner of the gym now stood confidently in the spotlight, not because she had changed her body, but because she had learned to value herself regardless of what anyone else thought. And Jake? He was still learning that same lesson, one day at a time. If Emma's incredible transformation story inspired you to believe in your own potential for change, make sure to hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell. We have more amazing comeback stories coming your way that will remind you that it's never too late to rewrite your story. Remember, your worth isn't determined by other people's opinions, and your potential for growth is limitless. See you in the next video.